Hello, hello, and welcome. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Happy Monday to you, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening for you. I'm so grateful that we have the platform and the opportunity today to connect and have insightful conversations. My name is Jana Masik. I'm the host of this LinkedIn Live broadcast, Powering Unique You. And here, my friend, it's all about how can we find ways, how can we glean the knowledge from our guests, how can we encourage each other and feel empowered to become the person we want to be and to achieve what we want to achieve in our lives. So today, I feel is going to be a special episode. Well, all of my episodes are special. If you haven't noticed yet, but it is going to be a very interesting guest. I actually met him just a little bit while ago, and we had really insightful conversation. So as you're joining in, I would like for you to participate. This is all for you, my friend. So please participate, share your thoughts, share your comments, ask questions. We are here to serve you. So a little bit about my guest. My guest is a gentleman, and he's actually a high performance coach that many people seek to work with. He guides his clients through the methodology that he created that is called Morning Fire. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today. He is really passionate about helping people unlock their potential, take control of their days, and also create pathways to success. I can say we align. I align with his passion very much. So I think that's why I was really excited that he's coming in today. He also wrote a book. He's an author of Rise, Fight, Love, and Repeat, Ignite Your Morning Fire. So it's on my reading list. It's going to be, a great read, I know. And, he's also has a podcast, Morning Fire podcast. So checking in his podcast. So without further ado, I want to come in and introduce Jeff to you. Hello, Jeff.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. And I want to say your last name to make sure I correctly see. This is the thing I missed to ask you. Please let us know your last name. How do you pronounce it?
Yes, it's Jeff Wickersham.
Wickersham. Jeff Wickersham. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Have you today. And I know before we dive into our conversation, meet and greet of it, which is how can we be more energetic? How can we wake up and just jump out of bed and create the things we want to create? I know you have a little exercise for us.
Absolutely. So if you're watching this live, you can participate. If you watch it on the recording, watch it, do it as well. But we're going to take 3 breaths in, and it's a power breath in through the belly, up through the chest, all the way up the back of our neck. And when we do that, we're going to raise our hands up to the ceiling. So let's go ahead and breathe in and out. Good. Another breath in and out. Final breath in and out. Now I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1. We're going to yell boom at the top of our lungs. If you want to smack your chest, you can. But we're going to get some energy in the building, have an amazing conversation today. So in 3, 2, 1, and boom!
Boom!
There you go. Love it, love it. So that's just one way to get some energy, change your state, change your emotions, and really snap out of whatever funk you're into or get that excitement. And nothing can be done without energy, excitement, and enthusiasm.
I love this. I wrote it down in our last conversation. Those are 3 words that I took up that really stood out to me. And I said, I need to write them down. Energy, excitement, and enthusiasm. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Nothing can be done because when you come into any environment, dragging your feet, exhausted and overwhelmed, guess what? It's just not moving along. So thank you so much for giving us this head start, the breathing. We breathe shallow so often. So this belly breath give us the concentration, give us the oxygen we need to think our best. Jeff, this is amazing. We have friends joining in. We have Keith saying hello. Keith saying Rise, Fight, Love, Repeat is a great read. We have our guest from Mumbai saying hello. So good to have you today. And really, Jeff, our conversation is how can we wake up? How can we create a reality for ourselves where we're really energetic and we focus on what we need to achieve that day and who we need to become that day. And I would love for you to start with a little bit of your personal story and journey. How did you come to realization that you need to wake up in such a way?
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on today. I'm so grateful for the opportunity, first and foremost. So a little backstory. I spent about 20 years in corporate America, and a little over 6 years ago, I had that life transformational moment. And unfortunately, I lost my mom to breast cancer. And it was one of those moments that punches you in the gut, cuts you at the knees, and you question everything in life, right? With the woman that brought you into the world leaves this world, you're left with a lot of questions. You're left with that pain, and what do you do with that? And through a lot of soul searching, a lot of deep discovery, I figured out that I wanted to go out on my own and become an entrepreneur. And I did about a year later, where I opened up a gym locally. And then what organically grew out of that was High Performance Habits. And I knew personally I was going through pain, frustration. I knew I needed to up level just from my habits, my rituals, what I was doing on a daily basis, as well as I had potential clients who couldn't get in the door. So I had that pain of 100 people saying, yes, I want to come in and see you, and 15, 20 coming in the door. What happens to that other 80, 85? And it's all the mindset. It's all the things that we do on a daily basis. So I took every course, podcast, book, coach, mentor that I could put together. And that's where I came up with what I call the morning fire methodology. And it's how you bookend your days. What's that last 30 minutes of the day look like? And then what's that first 30 minutes of the day look like? And the mantra is rise, fight, love, repeat.
I love it. I want to say thank you for sharing your personal story vulnerably. And, I feel that sometimes the things that are the most painful, the things that are the most difficult and unexplainable, that are hardest to comprehend, somehow the experiences that we have, if we'll open and I would say reflect on those experiences, they somehow become blessing, and somehow we learn lessons that can transform our lives. And out of this devastation, losing your mom at early age is just, it seems that it's just gave you that fuel, gave you that fire to create the morning fire methodology, and to now not just transforming your life, and I know you're transforming your family as well, and your children, but also the people around you. And please share with us some more of what this methodology is about, and how can it be used?
Absolutely. And I would just add on to your point that you just made. Whenever you're in that situation of the grieving and the pain that I went through with losing my mother, you don't know what's going to come out of it. And I always love Steve Jobs' quote, right? We want to connect the dots forward, but we just can't. But you've got to have faith and belief that looking back, they'll connect and make sense. And they truly do for me now. But
Yes.
In the mix of it, I really couldn't believe that would happen. But it, to your point, it is the spark that every single day, even getting up most days at 3:45 in the morning, I am just grateful for another opportunity to have this conversation, impact other people, because life is so precious and it is such a gift, and we get that gift every single day. So that's just so important. But to the rise, fight, love, repeat, to the methodology. So the rise, I always love that, is very symbolic of a phoenix rising from the ashes, right? Reborn, new opportunities, new possibilities. How are you going to rise in the morning? Fight, you're fighting for your physical fitness, your mental fitness, your nutritional fitness. And especially as adults, we lose that fight mentality. We lose that edge, that I'm truly going to fight for what I need, right? That dog mentality. So fighting for your physical fitness, mental fitness, nutritional fitness allows you to operate at a peak performance level. Then the love, we are so hard on ourselves, right? We're the only species on the planet that continues to beat ourselves up for things that we didn't do yesterday or 2 weeks ago or a month ago. So first thing is showing yourself self-love. And when you give yourself self-love, you can love all those around you that much more powerfully. And the terribly unsexy piece, the last piece to the puzzle, is just the repeat, right? Repetition over and over again, because so much of what we do on a daily basis is driven through our habits and rituals. And to be able to repeat it over and over again and hardwire it to what you're going to do on a daily basis is a critical piece to the equation.
I love it. It's a simple, triangle, but then it becomes a circle. So the triangle is really, you gotta rise. You gotta realize you can't lay in the ashes, roll around and do nothing. Things not gonna change. And then you really gonna have to embrace that. You gotta have to fight. Again, being defeated and being overwhelmed and stressed and, oh, I'm a victim is not gonna help you anyhow. You gotta fight. You gotta fight for your health. You're gonna fight for your wellness. You're gonna fight of what you're eating. Sometimes you fight with yourself, right? Because you wanna go indulge on those cheesecakes every day. Well, may not serve you as well. So get a bowl of salad. And really look at the way of loving. I think love is at the center of it, because I agree with you so much. We are so hard, and I can speak from mom perspective, as women, as moms, I think we're just so hard on ourselves, like guilt that we could have been better, we could have done better. It does not serve you. You gotta have to let it go. You gotta have to embrace and love yourself for who you are, love your body, love your being, and then the circle is repeat, right? It's a daily repetition. I love it. It's simple, it's practical, and it's definitely doable. I think it's doable for all of us to embrace that. And we have my friend Ben joining, saying hello. He's saying, just watching for a few minutes. You guys are positive charge. Thank you, Ben. He feels energy, excitement, enthusiasm through the screen. Cheers to you too, Ben. Thanks for joining. We are excited to have you. And going back, Jeff, to this, you have this methodology now. You have the steps that I know, implemented in your own life. You are the testimony that it works. You are the testimony that it is possible. Why do you think people get stuck? Why do you think people, like when you started your journey, sign up for, the gym, sign up, pay the dues, and then don't show up? 80%, 85% of people don't show up. They just get stuck in that old way of living. Give us some insights on that, please.
Yeah, the number one reason is awareness, right? We don't have an awareness of truly how the mind operates and how it's wired, and as well as how much of what we do on a daily basis is driven through our habits and rituals. And it can be up to 90 to 95% of what we do on a daily basis is driven through our habits and rituals, meaning it's on autopilot, right? It's not a conscious thought, it's subconscious. And I always relate it to the computer programs that run behind the scenes, right? You put the power button on your laptop, all of a sudden the screen pops up, you're rocking and rolling, but there are so many things that happen behind the scenes that you're not even aware of. So that is number one. Up to 90 to 95% of what you do on a daily basis is driven through those habits and rituals. So that's why people feel stuck, right? That's why people feel like every day is Groundhog Day, or they're on this never-ending treadmill, and one day becomes a week becomes a month becomes a year, and 5 years down the road, they're in the same spot, and they don't understand, how can I still be here, right? It's because those habits and rituals are just keeping you there, because the mind has a limited capacity, right? It can't nearly process all the bits and pieces of information that we're bombarded with on a daily basis. So that's the first piece of awareness, is how much is driven through our habits and rituals. The other piece is how long it takes. And we've all heard it takes 21 days to create a habit. Well, that's BS. That's the bare minimum. Neuroscience has proven out it can be anywhere from 21 to 67 days. So think about how many people fail on their New Year's resolutions because they think they've heard it's 21 days all their life. So they feel like, if I get 3 weeks, I'm there. Well, it could take up to 3 times that, right? If you don't know. So that's why so many people fail. So awareness is such a key component. Understanding both those two numbers can then allow you to say, okay, well, then I need to change my habits, and I need to do it longer than 21 days. It could be 67. Maybe I should do it 70 days to get past that upper threshold. And
Mhm.
you're hardwiring then your mind and your habits for success. So awareness is the number one piece, right? It's not taught in schools at any level. How much is driven through our habits and rituals, how long it takes to build a habit. It's not talked about in family circles. So it's a very important, powerful piece to the puzzle.
Oh yes, I agree with you. And I think the challenge, as I'm reflecting on my personal experience, the challenge is sometimes you have a glimpse of awareness, you have a little bit of willpower to change, and then you exercise it for a certain period of time with consistency to, flip that thing. And let's take personal, physical exercise. I know you started with fitness. I feel like last year I went pretty good in doing my routine and walk and just staying on what I set for myself to be adequate, to be physically active. And then I slipped at the end of the year. Things happened, and then I slipped, and it was a day by, a week by, a month by, and I turned around. I'm like, what happened to my routine? Where did it go? And I almost have to recreate now. Of course, it's almost like starting from scratch. And yes, there is a feeling of that discouragement. And I just want to share my experience, and maybe you could add to that. But the success and the routine and the new habit creation, it's not a linear progression. I feel it's like you go up, and then you kind of slide down. You have to pick yourself up. And that's where I resonate with your encouragement of fight back, where you can't just, okay, you fell down. You can't just stay there defeated in a pit. You're going to have to fight back. And you may not bring yourself to the same level where you dropped off. You may bring yourself, a level lower, but you're going to have to fight back, pick up and say, well, maybe I can't do 10 push-ups that I did, last year in like X amount of minutes, but I can do 3 or 5 today, so, and go with it and build upon it again. That's been my experience. What do you think about that falling off kind of the curve? You go, you're great. And then you're like, boom, things happen, months pass by, and you're like, where am I?
Yeah. So there's two pieces to that puzzle that I love to coach about. And one is accountability. All right. Having accountability, have a group. That's one of the things I love in the mastermind I coach, or when I take folks through my 10-week program, is we have daily accountability. So you're checking in to make sure you get it done. And we always hold others accountable, but we always let ourselves off the hook. Right. So
Yeah.
accountability is such a key differentiator. When you're accountable to a group, you see people getting in, doing the work. It's infectious, right? Just as Ben said, right, where he said our energy was infectious. If you surround yourself with people that are driven, that are looking to get better each and every day, it's going to rub off on you, and you're going to say, yes, I'm going to stay accountable. So accountability is a key thing, right? Having accountability. And then the second thing, and I love to say, just never miss twice. Right. And so many times I talked about regret and how we beat ourselves up. So many times, if you miss working out, let's say in your example, one day, then regret pops in. And then that is such a demotivator, right? Then the next day you're going to say, well, I already missed. I'm not going to do it today. I say never miss twice. Life happens, right? But if you take that thought process of never missing twice, forgiving yourself for yesterday and getting back on that train that's moving down the train tracks, you're going to be that much more successful. And then one day doesn't turn into a week to turn into 3 months. You say, okay, I'm going to give myself grace. I missed yesterday, but I know in my mind I'm going to never miss twice. I'm getting back on it today. And then you're going to be a lot more consistent in the overall process.
I love that. And I agree with you that life does happen. And I want to add to that is, even if life happens and there is some kind of circumstance that knock you down for a week or a month, or 3 months, pick yourself back up together, fight your fight and say, yes, give yourself grace, give yourself forgiveness, and say, I'm going to have to get back on the train. I'm going to have to hop back on, get some people that has good energy to rub off you, like Jeff, and say, no, I'm going to get back on. I'm going to get into it, and I'm going to work on myself and work on what I want to create in this life relentlessly. And I believe that that will help you to get through some of those tough times where I feel most of us have been in this past year plus funk, right? That it's been, I think, tough emotionally, physically, mentally, socially, all sorts of distancing. We're gonna have to fight back. We're gonna have to pick ourselves up and move forward. And with that, I would love for you to share your thoughts on what's the science of habits. I know you've shared a little bit on that, but maybe you give us some practical tips. How can we implement that?
Absolutely. And I did share, those two numbers related to kind of the awareness, and it's so vital to have those. I talked about accountability. Accountability is a huge thing, and you can be accountable without necessarily having an accountability partner. And one of the ways to do that I love to give as guidance is putting it out on social media, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever your preferred platform is. And I did this last May, where I said, I'm going to go live on Facebook every day at 12:30. Now, nobody was holding me to that, but we have a switch in our subconscious mind that we don't want to look like a liar. Now, nobody, 99.99% of folks, were not going to say, well, Jeff didn't go live on May 15th at 12:30, so he's a liar. But it's a little trigger inside our minds. And sure enough, there I was, May 15th, down at the beach in New Jersey with my family, coming off the beach at 12:30, hot spotting my laptop and doing a live in my truck while my family's on the beach. And why was that? It was because I had put it out and made it public. So that's a very powerful way that you can get that accountability if you don't have accountability partners. Related to habits as well, starting small is always a very important piece to the equation, right? Start small and build yourself up so you get those quick wins. If we were talking about exercise fitness a little bit, if you haven't exercised or start a fitness program for a couple of years, you should not hit a 60-minute HIIT workout the first couple of weeks, because you're going to be so sore. The mind's going to relate soreness and connect it to the physical activity, and it's going to fight you to get there. So
no way.
Yep. So start small. And build up over time, as well as, if you can, pair a new habit that you want to create with an existing habit. And I had a friend last year whose wife was pregnant with their second child, and he said, I think, meditation would be great. She seems a little anxious about everything. And I asked him, does she like to drink coffee? And she was drinking decaf, obviously, since she was pregnant. But I said, how about she starts the coffee while it's brewing, she goes and meditates, and then her reward is that cup of coffee. So she's intertwining that new habit with an existing one she already enjoys, and then it's much easier to establish that good habit moving forward. So those are just a couple of strategies related to setting yourself up for success. And if we're not preparing for success, we're going to fail, right? We're basically preparing to fail. So any prep work, any thoughts and research you can do to really get yourself ready to be successful is so vitally important. And that's part of, right, the morning fire methodology. It's not only what you do in the morning, it's bookending your days, right? The last 30 minutes of your day. How do you prepare for success? How do you get things ready? So when that alarm clock goes off in the morning, you are running fast. You're getting all these quick wins, and you're feeling so much tremendous momentum, energy, and focus throughout your day.
That is awesome. I can testify with the first advice that you've given, that when you announce publicly, your mind holds you accountable to that. And I did that with my broadcast. I posted the first line of my description on LinkedIn. I'm going live on Mondays at 11 o'clock. No excuses. And it works. No matter what, I'm going to get prepared. Even if my guest canceled, I'm going to show up anyway and deliver the value. And I think that can work in any areas of your life. But especially, I feel, when you push yourself a little bit out of comfort zone, when you try to create consistency in a specific area that it deemed to be difficult, that works perfect. So I can second that right away from my personal experience. And then I think with the habit of adding into the sweet habit, a little bit of a sour to that, mixing it up and make it, sugar and lemon tea is pleasant to drink. So that's a good advice. Definitely, I'm going to look around and see how I can implement that in my life. And as you're watching and viewing, just think about where you can apply those tips in your life to prepare yourself for success. And Jeff, I would love for you to share maybe a little bit of the evening routine. What does it look like to go to bed successfully and prepare yourself for a good rest and then the next morning to rise up?
Absolutely. And the first step I love to do, and I've got them here, I'm opening them up, is blue light blockers, right? At 7 o'clock, I'm either putting on glasses or I've got blue light blockers that I'm wearing, because we're on our screens all day long and they stop the natural production of melatonin, which is the sleep aid. So it improves your quality of sleep. So stopping that blue light getting into your eyes is a vital piece to the puzzle, as well as preparing everything for the next day, right? How are you preparing for a great night's sleep? Are you powering down your mobile devices or iPads, whatever you have, reading a little bit, allowing your body to kind of relax and get ready for sleep? I see so many times that people are on their phones until they're falling asleep. Well, you're not going to be able to fall asleep very well when you do that. As well as preparing anything in the morning, right? I love to have a full glass of water right when I first wake up. I have that out and prepared and ready for when I come downstairs. And people always say, well, that's a little ridiculous. Why do you need to have that out and ready? Well, I go through the scenario. What happens if you go to the cabinet, you pull out a glass and there's no glasses there? Well, they're all in the dishwasher. Well, somebody forgot to turn on the dishwasher, so you don't have a glass. That's your mind's first opportunity to say, you know what, heck with this, go back to sleep. And the mind is wired. The mind is wired to take the easy way. So if you give it the easy way, it will take it.
Give all sorts of excuses to your mind. They'll run with it like a dog with a bone.
that is it. So, preparing for a good night's sleep, recapping what you did, what you were successful with in the day prior. One thing as a family that I love to do with my two sons and wives, we pray at night and then we say at the end of our prayers, what is one thing we're grateful for? So you're already getting into a state of gratitude before you go to bed. And then, that improves your sleep, and it's an amazing piece to the process.
And this is great. Simple again. I like that the things that improve and move ourselves, we can move ourselves forward with, are simple. The thing is that we don't implement them. It's like the common sense is not necessarily common action, right? And common activities that we take. So it's all simple, my friends. And it is setting yourself up for success and preparing yourself, knowing ahead of time. Your mind can trick you. Your mind most likely going to give you all sorts of excuses. And I could say that for sure. I think everybody raise your hand if you know it, give us a thumbs up if that's who you are. But I believe we're just wired to find excuses and be okay with it, not to do the hard things, not to do the simple things that's going to move us forward. Jeff, this has been fantastic. I really, really enjoyed our conversation. So many nuggets, so many good practical tips that anyone can implement today to move themselves, to prepare themselves for success. Something we chatted a little bit before we went live, and maybe you can touch on that. It is not necessarily where you're going, it's who you are becoming in the process. And maybe give us a few thoughts on this before we close.
Yeah, and that's related to goals, right? Setting large, scary, big, audacious goals are definitely a good thing. But what happens is when we set those goals, we get lost in how the heck am I going to get there? And Jim Rohn, kind of the original personal development guru, right, says it's not necessarily the achievement of that goal, it's the person we could become working towards that goal. And that's so important to the process, as well as chunking up a goal, right? Make it into daily actionable things that you can complete. And then your mind is going to say, okay, I can do that. Because when you're looking at that peak that you want to reach, the mind gets overwhelmed. And so many times, I know you touched on it a couple times in this discussion, right? Simple, straightforward. That's where I operate from, because when we make it complex, our minds feel overwhelmed, and we just talked about that they're going to look for the easy way out. So if it's a difficult thing, it's really going to direct you into the opposite easy lane. And when you take that easy lane, life is really going to be hard.
That's so true. It's like you can't lay on the sofa all day and just expect all things happen, the way you want them to happen. And after all, if you don't put the work in, don't expect it to, to really work out.
Yep,
That is so true. Jeff, thank you so much. And I would love for you to share with our listeners and viewers, where can they find you? And I know you have a little gift that you would like to share today.
Yeah, absolutely. So they can find me on any of the social channels, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You can also go out to my website, www.themorningfire.com. If you want to put your email address in there, I will give you the first 3 chapters to my best-selling book, Rise, Fight, Love, Repeat. If you just want to go out and grab the book, you can go out to Amazon. It's available in ebook or in paperback as well on my website. If you said, listen, I would love to spend 20 minutes speaking with you to understand what I might be able to do a little bit differently, you can scroll down, book a session with me, because sometimes it's so hard to read the label when you're inside the bottle, and it's just nice to have a different voice to be able to bring up suggestions and move the needle. And at the end of the day, that is my mission in life ever since I lost my mom to breast cancer, is to serve, lead, inspire, and help others to really live the ultimate life, because we only get one time around.
Yes, we only get one time around. We get this day. This is a gift, and it's been a gift today to have this conversation with you, Jeff. Thank you so much for your energy, for great start, wonderful continuation, and fantastic ending. I appreciate you joining in today.
Oh, thank you for having me. So grateful. Have an amazing rest of your day.
Wow, wow, wow. This was a morning fire for sure. If you didn't feel like you got ignited, inspired, and encouraged, hey, listen to it again and start with the breathing exercises. I want to say I'm really encouraged that we can learn from each other. We can really absorb. If we see someone who is doing things that we want to do, let's rub a little bit of shoulders and energy with that person and get to learn a little bit insights on how did they get there and what works for them. And I find it really empowering. So my goal is here to help you, my friend, feel more empowered. And with that, I want to wish you well. And don't forget, keep powering unique you. I see you next time.